What's up, y'all? This King Rain coming at you with another video. This is gonna be, I'm gonna label this the part 2, and this is gonna be in reference to, whether people take a stand, whether they stand for the anthem or they're kneeling. And Shannon and Skip, they talk about the whole situation and give their input and their thoughts on it. I'm gonna let them speak, and I'm gonna chime in intervals and give my perspective.
Continued kneeling during the national anthem over the weekend. There were a few notable exceptions. Orlando's Jonathan Isaac and Portland's Myers Leonard both stood while the rest of their teammates kneeled in their respective games. An outspoken Spurs coach, Greg Popovich, also stood alongside assistant Becky Hammon in San Antonio's bubble debut. When asked about his choice after the game, Pop said, quote, "I'd prefer to keep that to myself. Everybody has to make a personal decision." So Shannon, do you have a problem with anything that you saw?
No. I just wish the media would stop focusing on you're focusing on what some people view as negative. If the guys don't want to kneel, that's okay. That's well within their right, Skip. Just like the guys that do take a knee, that was within their right. The guys that don't, that's within their right. I think there's...
And everything he said is true. Like, I feel like in America, you get chastised and, somewhat become a pariah when you don't want to be a part of the agendas that they're pushing, or the certain ideologies that they want to push out. If you're not agreeing with them and you're in somewhat of an opposition to it, then you're taking, you're shown as being less sensitive. You all types of names, when you don't want to agree with the paradigm of how America feels you should be and act in certain situations.
Far too many positive things going on, because Skip, every press conference that I've heard, guys have mentioned why they're in the bubble and what they're trying to bring attention to. So they've kept the focus on the things that it needs to be on. Myers Leonard, he says he has family in the military. Okay, that's fine. He says, look, I talked to UD, I talked to Iggy, Andre Iguodala, and they explained to me, and what he's doing, he and his wife has donated $100,000. Skip, the Supreme Court says felons, they gave felons, convicted felons, their right to vote. But if you have outstanding fines, you can't vote until they're paid in full. So LeBron James also has donated money, his foundation. Myers Leonard, there have been others that have donated.
And I don't mean just, interrupt like that. But if I can say, just in my personal opinion, and this is going to rub a whole lot of people the wrong way, just me personally speaking, I know that, we're told, if you want to, change how things are, you should vote. And, if the particular person that's in, the presidency, you don't like, when the next election comes, you should vote. And, I know it seems like I said the same thing twice, but what I want to say is that the idea of voting, just in my personal opinion, elections are not built on the idea of, I'm going to vote, and, hey, I'm going to vote for this person, and they're going to amass this many votes, and they're going to, become the next president. Anybody who I feel like I said, is a dimensional thinker and looks at things in a different perspective, you should know as well as, the smartest individual or the person that claims to be smart, that voting hasn't really done anything. And I'm just speaking more so in reference to us, the so-called black community, because that's the people that I can truly speak to, because those are, my people. Even though, a color can't be a race, but, that's a topic for another video. But the idea of voting, it sounds like, it can really change things and, make things better or whatever the case may be. But, at the end of the day, whoever you vote for, they have their own agendas, they have their own plans, they have their own, ideas that they want to put in motion. So, who are you to just, vote for someone and think that they're going to make change? And, I think I said it in my previous video, one person can't fix the issues of an entire people. So, that whole idea of, we could just vote and, we can make things better. Like, as a people, if we want to make things better, we have to start with ourselves. And, we have to make things in the capacity where it can benefit us, the so-called black people, because, you know, looking at a country that has, you know, basically oppressed us and thinking that, you know, you're going to ask for you're going to ask for equality from a country that has always oppressed you, you know, that's an oxymoron, you know. And at the same time, you know, I'm sure there's plenty of individuals who want that, you know, equality, and, you know, they want, you know, everyone to be together, and, you know, all the races should be one, you know. But like I said, I'm a firm believer in God, and I read the Bible, and, you know, just being honest, in the Bible, you don't, you know, see different types of people, you know, whether it's the Levites and the Canaanites. They didn't all live together in the same town. You know, they each had their own, you know, dwelling, or their own place that they call home, you know. And their home didn't denote what their race was or what their ethnicity is as how they do in America. You know, just because you're from Canada, you're a Canadian. You know, if you're born in America, you're an American. You know, when that term of a race doesn't even exist. You know, if you was to go to another country, you know, you go to Europe, and, you know, they somewhat look similar to the Americans, you know, the whites, as they call themselves in America. They look like them, but you go to another country and just think that you're going to call them white. You know, they're not going to go for that, you know. And they're not going to go for that first and foremost because they have an identity, and they know what their culture is. So you're not going to just come over there and think that, oh, well, in America, we are the so-called whites. We, you know, we have the people with the fair skin. We call each other white, you know. You're not going to do that in another country because, like I said, they have a culture, you know. They know where their seed comes from, you know. And what I mean by their seed is just another word for race, you know. And the seed, you know, basically that gives you all of the information that you know of that people. But in America, they want to tell you that, oh, it's because they're from Asia, they're Asian. Because they're from Russia, they're Russian. Because, you know, they're from China, they're Chinese. When, you know, these people have, you know, their actual ethnicity is bigger than any so-called demographic could ever label it to be. And that goes for us so-called blacks as well. You know, I'm not black, and I don't consider myself to be African American because all of my family members that I know, you know, whether it's on my mother or my father's side, no one tells me stories about, you know, Africa, or no one tells me that, you know, Denzel, you know, our ancestors came from here. Like, you know, I've never been told that I come from, you know, Africa. So, you know, I'm not going to take that. But I feel like I've been going on. I'm going to let them, you know, continue to talk.
Money into I think it's in Florida.
Oh, and one more thing, you know, when they constantly tell you that that these certain individuals, oh, they donated this money to so-and-so, you know, I want anybody that looks at this video to show me where these donations to, whether it's Black Lives Matter, the NAACP, or any other type of charitable organization that supposedly wants to help the black community. Show me where any of these donations have actually had a mass effect on the so-called black people in the way of benefiting them, whether it's mentally, physically, financially. If someone can show me that, then I will never speak against the so-called, you know, people that say that they make these donations, or, you know, these charitable givings to, you know, the so-called black people, whether it's in the league of the Black Lives Matter or the NAACP.
Get these fine paid so these guys, these young men and women, will have the ability to vote. Skip out and look, let's not vilify, and Charles said, let's not vilify people that's not kneeling. Charles Barkley.
Yeah, you want to say that, Shannon, you know, let's not vilify the people that are not kneeling. But, you know, doesn't America vilify you for, you know, oh, if you don't accept these kind of people, you know, you're racist, or, you know, you're this, you're that. But that's what America teaches us, though, right? You know, if it's not normal in America, it's not normal anywhere else. You know, that's what we're taught in America. So for everyone to have these different opinions about kneeling or wearing Black Lives Matter shirt, you know, you can't fault them because, you know, this is what America has taught the populace to be and to think, you know. So, you know, the vilifying thing, you know, that's going to always be a part of, you know, the American standard, especially when you're not going along with the program.
Let's not vilify those that are not kneeling like they vilified Colin Kaepernick that did kneel.
And yeah, Colin Kaepernick, you know, he knelt, you know, he kneeled, and, you know, was, you know, in support of, you know, Black Lives Matter and, you know, against police brutality. But, you know, Colin Kaepernick, ever since he, you know, started his little movement and did the things he's do, I've never seen this man come out publicly and actually say anything that is worthwhile that can actually bolster the confidence of the so-called black community. I'm sorry. I've never seen this man even actually do anything, to be honest, for the so-called black community, you know. And in my personal opinion, I thought the thing was fake because, you know, for someone of his esteem and his stature to want, you know, all of a sudden, oh, I'm going to take up this, you know, I'm going to take up the mantle of, you know, being against police brutality and, you know, supporting Black Lives Matter. But, you know, these celebrities could never understand the lives of the common people. And I'm not saying that in any derogatory way, so don't take it that way. But as far as the common people, the celebrities can never understand. But, you know, you're going to get these characters on the television to talk like this because, you know, they know that they can influence you. But, you know, always be careful of a wolf in sheep's clothing.
At this point in time, Skip, I want to make something abundantly clear to people. There's two things at play here. What's going on right now, Skip, is a demonstration. A demonstration is there's nothing to lose. There's no chance of being arrested. There's no chance of a fine. There's no chance of being suspended. Colin Kaepernick protested. He lost his job. Muhammad Ali protested. He lost 3 years of his career.
And the reason why those things happen to those certain individuals that he named, Muhammad Ali and Colin Kaepernick, is because, see, as I said not too long ago in the video, if you're not going along with the program that America wants, you're going to be desensitized. You know, you're going to be, you know, put into a realm, you know, other than the realm that you're used to, if that makes sense. And what I truly mean by that, and I'm going to expound on that, is that these figures that they give us on, you know, the television and the media to speak out and say these certain things, like, they're going to only toe the line so much. So you should be careful about really wanting to actually listen to these things that these certain celebrities that you see on television talking are saying, because, you know, if it may seem like, you know, they can do what they want, you know, because, you know, they got the money and the prestige or whatever. But hey, best believe if they say the wrong thing, or if they're giving out too much information to the public, and it's something that can actually help them and benefit the people to become better, that person is gonna get, you know, for a better choice of words, they're gonna get erased, you know. And I'm just being honest.
Carlos and Tommy Smith at the Six-Day Olympics back power. That was a protest. See, a protest, you have to be willing to lose something. Either your livelihood. John Lewis protested, got hit upside his head, he almost lost his life. Dr. King, when they was doing,
and, you know, just me, you know, and like I said, I know this gonna make some people mad again also. And I had stated this in a Facebook post when I was actually, I think I was talking to someone. But, you know, when has protesting ever really done anything for the so-called black community? You know, when has rioting and, you know, doing all the, you know, the things that were done during the George Floyd, you know, thing, you know, it was completely wrong. And I know that 100% it was wrong. But I'm just asking that question though, like, when has, you know, protesting and, you know, doing those different things, when has those things really actually benefited so-called black people, you know? And I'm just being honest, like, because I haven't seen it, you know.
these marches in Birmingham, when they was doing these sit-ins, that's a protest because there's something at stake here, Skip. You could be arrested. You could be killed. You could lose your job. These are demonstrations.
Okay.
There's nothing to lose here, Skip. Because guess what the NBA said? We have a rule that you need to stand. I think it went in place in 1981, but we're going to relax the rules and says, okay, we understand. There's no threat of losing your job. There's no threat of being arrested. So there's two things at play.
Matter T-shirt.
Right.
He was recently ordained as a minister back in just March.
Right.
So recently he became a minister. And his point was basically that all lives matter, which is a flashpoint that you didn't love, right?
And, you know, even though, you know, that's become the staple of the so-called white people when it comes to counteracting somewhat the Black Lives Matter. But, you know, I previously said in another video that I don't support Black Lives Matter. And, you know, I'm not for that all lives matter thing either. And I say that because, you know, as I said in my previous video, you have to give substance and power to your own life. You have to make it matter to yourself first before you plan on having it actually mean something or be important to someone else. And, you know, walking around with these t-shirts saying Black Lives Matter, you know, I mean, I just feel like that's, you know, it doesn't do anything, just in my personal opinion. Because, you know, walking around with a shirt on that says Black Lives Matter, you know, that's not going to open any special doors for you to, you know, gain more finances or revenue. Or it's not going to, you know, even beyond that, it's not going to open up a different mindset where, you know, you're becoming closer with the Most High, or, you know, you're gaining more intelligence from, you know, the movement. Like, you know, it serves no positive purpose, you know. The leaders for Black Lives Matter, you know, do they come out? Do they come out to the, you know, the neighborhoods that, you know, the people, anyone that may view this video, do they come to your neighborhood and, you know, do any acts of positivity, or, you know, provide any of these, you know, donations that they received over the years? Has any of that gone back into the neighborhood? Because I haven't seen it, you know. Where I'm from, I haven't seen it, you know. The same thing still go on, and it's still been going on with Black Lives Matter. And it's going to continue to go on because it's not an organic movement.
And a lot of people in Black Lives Matter movement did not love that, but he's saying all lives are supported through the gospel. So I don't believe this is the way. He obviously said, I'm for Black lives, I'm for all lives matter. So again, you've had issues with Christianity because over the years, back through history, Christianity has been used, the Bible's been used to rationalize slavery and other.
And hey, didn't I just say that in the previous video, that they have used the Bible, or they'll tell, or, you know, it's been the story that, you know, they use the Bible to subdue us, or, you know, to keep us in check, so to speak. Didn't I mention that in the previous video? You know, and he's saying that, Skip Bayless, because he's somewhat trying to continue that stigma and trying to make you, you know, it's trying to keep you divided from the Most High. And, you know, like I said, I also spoke on religion and, you know, the names, you know, Christianity or whatever. Like I said, you know, if you believe in God and you're a person of, you know, pure positivity and you have a good heart, you know, your religious affiliation doesn't really matter. You know, if you have a connection with the Most High, God, you know, I know Muslims call him Allah, you know, that's all that matters, you know. But I just want to make that point also, like, you know, how the Bible has been supposedly used against the so-called black race. But, you know, something that's used against you, you know, it has to have some good with it, if that makes sense, you know. Because the so-called black people, our skin color gets used against us for a reason, because, you know, it's something that's very powerful and something that's very, you know, it's something that's important and, you know, extremely powerful about this skin color, this so-called black skin, but, you know, so-called black.
You know, sort of demeaning of black
Oppression
people,
of people, yes.
oppression. So are you okay with this one young black man saying, well, no, I see it very different. I'm Christian and I'm not going to kneel or wear a t-shirt.
Skip, the problem that I have is that he used religion, because you have to ask yourself, in a situation like this, what would Jesus do? There were
I
people,
told you what
And, you know, for him to ask, you know, he don't like the fact that Jonathan Isaac used religion, you know, what would Jesus do? Now, anybody, like I said, who reads the Bible knows that, you know, you can't get to the Father unless you go through the Son. And we know that Jesus is the Son of God. So, you know, I just feel like, you know, even that's, you know, that's been a slogan that's been used for a long time, you know, what would Jesus do? Or, you know, WWJD, you know, when it's broken into a, you know, an acronym. But we can't fathom or even put into context what Jesus would do, because Jesus was on a whole nother level as far as being a so-called black man, because that's what he was. Oh, I ain't even gonna say that's what he was. That's what he is. You know. But that's why I was saying in my previous video with John Isaac, when he mentioned a religion thing, that he should have expounded on it more, because you see how Shannon is now trying to poke holes in what he said when he's trying to use it in a positive way. And I say that in reference to Jonathan Isaac.
But I think Jesus would do.
Exactly.
He would have been out there marching, protesting, sitting in the street.
he could
would
do
have been.
every.
And see, that's blasphemy, in my opinion, you know. But it would be the so-called white man that'll tell you that. What, you know what Jesus would do? He would be out there protesting. He would be sitting in the street. You know, he would be walking up and down the road, you know, turning water into wine. You know. But you gotta, like I said, it's something more to the Bible and, you know, the scriptures. And like I said, I believe everything in the Bible. Certain individuals will tell you that, you know, the Bible's been changed and tampered with and false stories have been put in the Bible and all of that. Like, I'm not trying to hear none of that. Like, I'm not, you know. And, you know, I believe in God. I'm not here to force anyone else to believe in God, because, you know, your life path is your life path, you know. I can only focus and truly worry and care about my own and the people that I love and that love me. But, you know, like I said, you know, it's something, you know, that's hidden in that Bible that is supposed to awaken us as a so-called black people. And that's why it is constantly put down and spoken in a derogatory way, if you ever notice.
He couldn't be everywhere at once.
No, but he would.
But when people needed, he was there.
And if he'd been in the bubble, he would have knelt. That's what
That's all I'm saying.
Okay, let's go to Greg Popovich.
Okay.
See, once again, saying what Jesus would do. If he was in the bubble, he would have knelt. Like, how do you know that? How do you know that, Skip Bayless? Because I know for a fact that you don't worship God. You know. And I know most people, or anyone who may read this, anybody who may look at this video, well, how would you know? How would you know that he doesn't believe in God? Like, man, anybody, like I said, I'm not going to go too deep into it, because, you know, it should be right in your face, you know, about these certain individuals, you know, how they speak on, you know, God and Jesus Christ, you know. We're not going to say religion. We're just speaking on Jesus Christ and God. How they speak on, you know, this great and omnipotent, you know, loving entity and his loving and amazing, miraculous son. You know, it's funny how they speak on him like that, but, you know, they I guess they believe in, you know, God and Jesus Christ too, even though they denigrate them, you know.
Remember, graduated from Air Force Academy, did his 5-year stint in the Air Force, considered going into the CIA, so his roots are deep in the military.
And you should have known that Greg Popovich, you know. I did, you know, and I'm a fan. Well, I take that back. I like the Spurs team, you know. Actually, my favorite team. I say past favorite team, because, you know, I feel like, you know, saying things like that, you know, you give more power to things than they deserve when you say things like that. But Greg Popovich, for him to have been in the Air Force and, you know, to be in that military lifestyle, you know that he's not going to take a knee to the flag. That's common sense. So,
military.
Correct.
Okay, and he has been consistently scathing in his criticism of our president. Correct.
Yes.
And he's been consistently extremely supportive of Black Lives Matter.
From the jump.
Okay, I make a quick aside comment here on Greg Popovich. The irony is sometimes I think he's more like our president than he would like to be because he can be a bully in media,
Yeah.
especially on.
Whoa, shots fired. Yeah, I see how he compared Greg Popovich to Donald Trump. And there's a reason why he said that. You know, like I say, I talk to my girlfriend, you know, I always, you know, bestow upon her knowledge and give her, you know, more insight on things. But like I said, in this case, you know, him comparing Greg Popovich and Donald Trump, it's truth in every joke, I feel like. You know, somebody could just come up to you and be like, "Hi, you're ugly, hi," you know, and they just laugh and they think it's funny, but, you know, I just feel like it's truth in every joke, you know. I know that was, you know, a weak analogy, so to speak, but, you know, point of the matter is that, like I said, it's truth in every joke.
Reporters who ask, but especially post game, when they ask fair and objective questions, he shames them just the way our president shames people in press conferences. And then it appears that Coach Popovich was not good with Colin Kaepernick kneeling because he just basically said he wouldn't say why, but it was clear it was because of his military background, the way he looks at that flag. That's one line you don't cross.
Right.
So I'm pretty sure Coach Popovich was not good with Colin Kaepernick protesting that way.
Right.
Okay? Just for the record.
Okay.
And you can take it or you can leave it, which
Okay.
brings us to Myers Leonard. And he was the first to admit, I'm a basket case. I'm a zombie right now. I haven't slept over this. I think he really wrestled with it. He said
So
he
do
talked
I.
to family members and to Navy SEALs that he knows.
Not those Navy
Right.
SEALs that had those attack dogs, and the guy had the Colin Kaepernick jersey on, and he had 4 dogs. Not those guys. Okay.
Shannon a funny dude, man. But, you know, when, you know, when they say things like that, you know, Myers Leonard, he wrestled with this or whatever the case may be, you know, when they say things like that, you know, like, do you truly know Myers Leonard? Do you truly know him as a person? Did you grow up with him? You know, are you related to him? Like, how would you know that that's how he truly feels? You know, and I'm not saying that he doesn't feel that way, but I don't know. So, just because he, you know, supposedly, you know, donated 100,000 or however much he donated to, you know, helping felons get their voting rights or whatever, I don't know if he truly did that. I'm not there. But like I said, I'm not going to say that he didn't do it. So, you know.
Okay.
But go ahead, Skip. You know.
Could be.
Okay.
I don't know. But he said that you can be a patriot and support Black Lives Matter too. And this has been another issue that you've had issues with. Because, well, what are they can't go hand in hand,
Right.
and he's like they're mutually exclusive. So he wore a Black Lives Matter t-shirt but said, no, I can't do that.
Right.
I can't kneel because I don't kneel during our national anthem.
Right.
Again, you've had issues with that before.
Because, Skip, it's almost like if you're kneeling, you're protesting the military. You're kneeling, you're protesting the flag. You're kneeling, the Bible. And my thing is with the Bible is that people cherry pick parts of the Bible
Yep.
to suit the cause at the time in which they're talking about. And say, see, here it is right here in the Bible, right there in black and white.
There's
But
much to cherry pick in the Old Testament.
And that's true, you know, a whole lot of individuals do cherry pick the Bible and say certain things to fit their perception or their circumstances of what they may be dealing with or going through. You know, that is very true. But, you know, another thing that they left out, you know, they speak on the Bible to denigrate it, but they don't also speak on parts that, you know, will actually back those things. Because God actually tells you in the Bible to test the spirits, you know. And as you can see, these two, they fit right into it. They fit right together with each other because they have the same spirit. You know, and like I said, and that spirit is none of the Holy Spirit, is not a spirit of God, it's not a spirit of his son Jesus Christ. It's not.
Exactly.
Yes.
And a lot of people cherry pick different parts of the Bible to accentuate, because remember, they use that. Blacks and whites were not supposed to be together. That's what they said in Jim Crow. That's why they tried to keep, well, it started in slavery, but that's what they used to try to keep blacks and whites from being together. You're not supposed to be in the same classroom, the same neighborhoods, and you're definitely not supposed to be in a relationship. Although Mr. Tom was sneaking in the cabin for years and hundreds of years before then. But that's a different story. We'll talk about that on another show, Skip. So with that being said, and now the military. Skip, people don't realize the military didn't become desegregated until 1948. Harry Truman signed an executive order, 9981. So prior to that, Skip, I can go fight for the country.
I got you.
But I gotta die with my own black brothers, even though we fighting for the same thing, the freedoms. But when I come back, guess where I'm going, Skip? I fought for freedom in Germany for people so we can have freedom around the world. But when I come back, I'm going right to the back of the bus.
Yep.
Damn, I can't even go in this restaurant after I gave you my life. I can't even go in this restaurant.
Okay.
So people.
And him making that point in reference to the military, and it's true what he said, you know, in reference to the military being segregated, you know, and also that should give brothers, my so-called black brothers, that should give y'all incentive to not go fight in the military, because, you know, you know what I mean, you're fighting for a country that at the end of the day truly doesn't really accept you. Just being honest, you know. And, you know, just because we live in the same country doesn't mean that we all fight for the same cause, you know. And America will have, you know, individuals, you know, like, you know, the Iraqi war, you know, they're telling us, you know, it's weapons of mass destruction over there and all this other stuff. Right? They'll give us these, you know, excuse me for saying this, they give us these bullshit propagandas and agendas as to why we should be warring with these countries when, you know, that's not the so-called black man's war. You know, because whenever they go over there or whenever they having these wars, it's not benefiting the so-called black man. It's not going over there to attain resources to benefit us. So it's not our war, you know. The military is not in our favor. It's not, you know. But I wouldn't, you know, down brothers that would still go fight in the military, because, you know, it's some people who want to fight for the military because, you know, they feel like that's the best way they can provide for their family, you know. But just in my personal opinion, you know, the military isn't, you know, you know, it's not suitable for the so-called black man, you know. And like I said, I can only speak on my people, my so-called people, the so-called black people, you know. But that has never been, you know, hand in hand, you know. Their agendas have never been, America's agendas have never been to help the so-called black people, you know.
Yeah, look, I don't have a problem. But just, you know, guys, I just have my personal reasons. Don't expand on it, because it looks ridiculous. It makes it seem as if the players that are taking a knee, they're protesting the military. The military don't own the flag. And the flag, when the flag, and what those players are basically saying, when that flag represents everything, what it said it was going to be. But I said, Skip, the flag represents exactly what it was supposed to be. They said, well, all men are created equal, where there was no women and there was no blacks in the writing of the Constitution. So it was read. So when it said all men, all white men are created equal. Because.
And Shannon, you know, he somewhat understands, you know, the issues that's going on with the so-called, you know, black man and woman. But he's gonna teeter the line, because like I said, when, you know, these people that we see that speak on these topics and these subjects, or that we see on TV in general, that want to actually come about and, you know, speak on justice for, you know, so-called, you know, whether it's any race, like, you know, but I'm just, like I said, I can only speak for my so-called race, the so-called black people, but they give you these individuals because they know that they're not gonna go overboard in reference to the message that they're trying to give. Like I said, they're gonna give you bits and pieces, you know, and it's up to you to research and build upon that, you know, information and turn it into knowledge and use it intelligence in the world, you know.
Constitution, America is a running exactly how our founding fathers intended it to run. Nothing more, nothing less. So stop this notion.
Okay.
I can't believe America is like this. Yes, you can, because America was set up to be just like this.
All of which I have big problems with all three of the.
And you know, like I said, Shannon, he made some great valid points, and he was truthful in what he's saying. But you know, the so-called white man, you know, of course he's gonna go against it because you know he has to give the idea that, you know, no, America, we didn't just make it just for us, the so-called white people. We included you guys in it too, you know. But like Shannon elaborated with the Constitution, you know, they had to add things to the Constitution just to make us fit into society. So that should show you that, you know, they didn't care about us, and that, you know, we weren't meant to be more than what they encompass us to be during the beginning periods of America. They didn't expect us to rise. I mean, not rise. They didn't expect, well, like I said, rise. They didn't expect us to go past slavery and get to the point that we are today. But to some extent, and like I say, I know I'm going to make some people mad with this, we're still slaves to some extent because, you know, we're slaves to materialism, money. You know, some of us are slaves to sex, you know. So it's still a form of slavery going on out here. It's just without the chains. And by chains, I mean, you know, shackles, not, you know, these gold chains that, you know, rappers and all that stuff, and, you know, they be wearing and whatnot.
These issues faced by these three who made the decision not to kneel. Black Lives Matter is so crucial. It's so important to our country right now.
Right.
A little door has been.
No, it's not. No, it's not. And if it was so important, Skip, why wasn't it brought about earlier than the 2000s? If Black Lives Matter in this establishment of this, you know, entity, if it was so important, why wasn't it established earlier? Because like I said, we weren't meant to be encompassed as being a part of the American dream, so to speak.
Cracked open.
Right.
And we've got to continue to run through it. And it's not too much to ask these three decision makers just to kneel one time, just to show their support. It's not going to be blasphemy. It's not going to defile the flag.
Right.
Just kneel one time because.
And also, my brothers and whoever else, you know, may look at this video. When someone shows you who they are, believe it. You know, for these individuals to not be, you know, kneeling, like I say, I don't, you know, really look at it like it does. It makes a big difference, you know, kneeling and wearing these Black Lives Matter shirts. But those individuals that aren't kneeling, let them do them. You know, they're showing you who they are, you know. And as a so-called black people, we have to start accepting this. You know, we're too forgiving of, you know, things that happen. You know, we too nice with a whole lot of things. You know, like we need to be more. You know, we need to discipline these people when they do these things, whether they, you know, make, you know, racial slurs or, you know, they're attacking one of our own or whatever the case may be, because they're going to do that to you when you do that to one of them. So we need to cut back on all of this, you know, niceness and equality and, you know, trying to be, you know, friendly. All the races be friendly. And like, we have to worry about ourselves. Like, we have to build up ourselves, you know, and put ourselves in a better situation, because, you know, America is our captivity. It's not a paradise. And if, you know, if individuals, like I said, I hope my young, you know, my black brothers, y'all reading the Bible, and, you know, y'all continue to read the Bible. And even if you read it completely, continue to read it. I read the Bible multiple times, and I continue to still read it because I want to master the understanding of the scriptures and what God is, you know, planning for me in the near future. And I also want to understand what's going on around us, because, you know, everything that's happening is somewhat predicted in the Bible. You know, America is Babylon. If anybody reads in the Bible, you know, Babylon, they all spoke the same language. Is that not, you know, what we do in America? Do we not all speak English? You know, the Bible is prophecy, you know, and America, Babylon, is slowly but surely becoming Sodom and Gomorrah. That's why we have all of these new legislations coming out, you know. And isn't it funny how, you know, when Black Lives Matter come out now, and you got, you know, trans lives matter, and, you know, black trans lives matter, and, you know, all of these other, you know, conglomerates just coming out of the woodworks. Isn't that funny?
It's very important right
Skip,
now.
like I said, I don't know Jonathan Isaac. I don't know a whole lot about him, and didn't really know a whole lot until he didn't stand. And it became an issue because then now he's the first player that didn't take a knee in the bubble, and so that's what he's known. Now that's what he was known for, Skip.
And he's a black player.
And I found it odd too, you know, when Jonathan Isaac made the comments he did, and he said what he said. Y'all don't think it's funny that couple days later, or if I'm not mistaken, the very next game that the Orlando Magic played, that he tore his ACL?
Black and Miles Leonard, Skip, for me, I'm more about deeds than gestures. His deed is, hey, here's some money, and I'm gonna try to help these convicted felons get their voting rights back. Coach Popovich, I believe his voice. I believe he's done things behind the scenes. Coach Popovich strikes me as a guy, Skip. He doesn't want a whole lot of credit for things that he's doing behind the scenes. I believe Coach Pop is working hard behind the scenes, be it monetary or whatever it may be. So, Skip, for me, Skip, I don't have a problem with it, but I just wish guys, and let's stop focusing on it. Let's talk about the guys. Ask the guys, okay, guys, I saw that you were kneeling. What would you hope to happen through this needle? What do you hope? What do you want America to be? And let's talk about the pop.
They don't know, Shannon. They don't know. The people that are participating in these, you know, protests and, you know, these, you know, which as you call them, demonstrations, they don't know they don't know, you know, the ending result of what they want to do. And then, you know, you're going to say, what do you want from America? You know, excuse me if I'm wrong. John F. Kennedy, didn't he say, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country? America's not changing. You know, and I know a lot of people are not going to probably want to hear that, but America's not changing. You know, America has, you know, been built up to where it is so far, and, you know, best believe they have a contingent plan that's going to continue to allow things to continue to go in the direction that it's going. And that's why more than ever, the so-called black man and woman need to come together and start focusing on building our own society. I mean, for a better choice of words. Because, you know, thinking that, you know, you're going to change things by wearing a Black Lives Matter shirt, or by kneeling, or by asking for equality, it's not going to change anything, you know. And I know, you know, all white people aren't, you know, racist and, you know, carry a hateful and deceitful heart. But, you know, just being honest, the so-called black man and woman, we're going to get judged as a whole when one of us do something. So, you know, that's why I was saying also, you know, we have to carry the same, you know, attitude that they're carrying with us. Because, you know, they're not giving I'm not going to say that, forgive me, God. And I'm sorry, I was about to, you know, curse. But they don't care about, you know, the issues that we have. Like I said, we have to care about the issues we have. And the more of us that care, the more, you know, we can make plans and ideal situations for us to prosper, you know.
Positive, and we can stay away from the negative if people deem that as a negative. But I'm afraid, Skip, this is only the beginning, because you know it's coming in football. You know it's coming.
Agreed, especially the first few weeks.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to leave it for now. Guys, is LeBron responsible?
And then, yeah, we're going to leave it right there. I just wanted to, you know, make another video and expound on the video, because, like, I thought this was another interesting video in reference to, you know, the situation in reference to the Black Lives Matter and, you know, the kneeling and, you know, everyone's participation, you know. But I thought this was a great video to, you know, elaborate on and, you know, give a better insight and, you know, just provide some more knowledge to my so-called brothers, you know. But God bless y'all, and you know, you know, I'm gonna be dropping some more videos. You know, I don't, you know, want to just put out things just constantly because I feel like it loses its potency. But you know, I'm gonna be making a whole lot more videos and, you know, trying to deliver more knowledge to my so-called brothers and sisters. But God bless.